Hello YouTube and welcome back to my Let's Play World of Warcraft on Wednesdays. And this week we're doing the Razorfen Kraul instance, or dungeon. And this is one of the, kind of getting halfway through the vanilla instances or dungeons so far. And unfortunately, I'm not doing a live commentary like I usually do with this game, because when I was recording this gameplay, the computer decided to have a different mic input as my default, and it wasn't the mic I was using, and so absolutely none of my voiceover got recorded. So I'm having to rewatch the entire thing and comment as we go. So here we are, we're in sort of a maze of vines and thorns and things, and that's where all of these Razorfen or Razorback, oh, I forget what this particular race is called, but it's one of the NPC races. It's not a playable race in the game, and you get to play them here in Razorfen Kraul, and then there's another Razorfen dungeon right across the road, literally, in the game. I forget the name of that one, but that one's a higher level instance than this one. I'll still solo them back to back. You'll see the other one next week, because, you know, I'm high enough level I can solo pretty far. And the one thing is I don't know how far I'll be able to solo dungeons. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to solo all the Burning Crusade ones, because I think I did that with the last expansion in order to get certain achievements and things. I think I actually went through and soloed all the Burning Crusade ones. Not sure if I was able to. I don't think I was able to solo any of the Wrath of the Lich King ones. Obviously, because that was the last expansion. But I might be able to solo some of the early Wrath of the Lich King dungeons now. I'm not sure. Once I hit level 90, I'm level 89 at the moment. But be that as it may, so I picked up some quests at the beginning there, and now just kind of going through and just kind of mowing my way through this particular dungeon. I don't think I've come across any of the mini-bosses just yet, but we're getting close to some of the mini-bosses now. I remember when I was leveling up some of my other characters, actually when I was, no, actually it would not have been my Death Knight, because she started off as level 55. But with some of my other characters, I have a shaman and a warrior. I've actually got one of every class right now, and my guild I would have like a high level guild person help run me through these instances when I was leveling up and everything, which was kind of nice. And so here, this is one of the bosses. It takes 2 strikes to kill him instead of 1, and it fulfills one of the quests that I'm doing in here. So I have to kill some of the mini bosses, and then I've got to talk to one of the other ones. Is talking to the spirit of Agamagan, or whatever, however you want to pronounce that. Which you'll see later on. That's near the end of the instance is when we run into him. This is one of the ones that the instance really hasn't changed much from the early days. There's a couple of tweaks that they've done now that the quest givers are now within the instance itself rather than out in the world as you're questing, which is kind of nice, because for people who want to replay these instances, or who have gone through vanilla and everything and have been playing for a long time, and they don't want to have to go out and find all of the quest givers in the world, you just go to the instance and you can pick up the quest and just run the instance and have at it. And this is one particular instance where if you are at level, you want to actually have a rogue on your team, because you want to be able to lockpick those chests to get the rewards out of them, because there's no way to open them unless you either have a lockpick or you have one of the keys. I think that is it a blacksmith or engineer? I think maybe it's the engineers who make those, but I think that's the only other way to open those chests. Alrighty, so we're getting up here towards one of the other bosses. I still remember one of the first times running this instance, way back when my main character was my shaman, and she died so many times because I did not know what I was doing in those days, and I kept forgetting that I was squishy, which means that I died easily, and I would always run ahead a little too far, and I'd get, the boss would like whack at me once and I'd die, which, annoyed my teammates to no end. I learned eventually once we got to the level. I really didn't do a lot of the level 60 instances, because when I started playing World of Warcraft was about a month before Burning Crusade came out. So most of my guildmates had already run through all of the high-end, high-level dungeons in vanilla quite a number of times by the time I started playing the game. So by the time I actually got leveled to level 60, everyone was trying to play the Burning Crusade end game dungeons instead. And so I played a lot of those with my guild, which were a lot of fun. I don't remember the name of some of them, but I remember one being a big castle, or more like a big haunted house kind of a thing with a theater in it. And every time you got to the theater part, it was like a different place. Sometimes it was like Wizard of Oz, sometimes it was a different one. I don't remember exactly, but that was a fun one. That one was it was fun because it was a little bit different every time, because that one part of the instance would change up. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 different variants of the plays that you would play, but that was a lot of fun. But at any rate, this is starting to get a little bit more interesting. These instances are taking me a little bit longer to get through. They're getting a little bit more complicated. As we're getting higher and higher. I think, like I said, this is sort of middle of the road, middle of the vanilla instances, and we've got a few more to go yet. So here we are now going into some caves, and yes, we have to pick up bat guano. In other words, bat poop. And I forget to do that initially, so I have to like run around later and go pick up the poop because I forget that I had to do that. So right now I'm just killing the bats. But yeah, the World of Warcraft folks have a nice little running sick joke of having to do something with picking up poop in almost every, pretty much every expansion of the game has some quest that requires you to deal with poop. Don't know if that's Chris Metzen's sense of humor or what, but at any rate. Alright, so we just kill those guys, and it drops the shield, and now we have to go after this guy. Agatheros or something. He's one of the mini bosses, definitely a big old meanie. So I got rid of him. And now I think we're getting close to where we ultimately end up killing the final boss in the game, or in the dungeon. I still need to kill these guys and pick up their poop. There we go. So, alright. There we go. We got the Kraul guano. So I'm killing some more of the bats just because. I don't think I get any XP for any of these anymore. And I think once I get to, I think the Lich King ones will be, some of the early Lich King ones I'll still be able to solo. It'll be interesting to see if I get any XP for those or not. So let's keep going. I think I got a little turned around in the game here at this point as well. So here we go. Don't know why I stop and pick up stuff from these people, but I do. It's a force of habit. Because when you're at level, you want to try and pick up as much as you can. And then here I noticed that there was a big giant pig, and I'm like, hey, I thought I killed you. Did you come back already? And that's when I realized that it's actually the spirit or the thing I've got to talk to. So it's one of the quest givers here, or quest droppers, or you have to turn it in with him. But this is one of the changes in this particular instance. Is you didn't usually have to talk to him within the game to do this. Or at least I don't remember that part. And now I'm going back in this way, and I'm like, okay, now where do we go? And I'm getting myself a little lost, because I actually should have just stayed out where I was. And I think I also thought that I needed more bat guano, which I didn't. And so I was going through and killing more bats and thinking, I need more of this stuff. But obviously I actually only needed the one, but I wasn't paying that close attention when I was playing. I was just like, I just need bat guano. I think the reason for that is because back in the old day, I think you had to pick up 5 of them or something. And, you know, they would drop like 1 bit of poop for every 5 kills or something like that back in the day. So you had to grind that out and everything. And then I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I've got to look at the map, and oh, okay, my target is over here. So I just did him. She's the one I need to do next. Chariga, or whatever her name is. So let's go and find this Chariga. I was in the right place to begin with earlier, but I wasn't paying attention. So, yep, there we go. Now I'm going in the right direction. And there he is again. And I think that's what was confusing me, is that he's standing there and I'm like, am I in the right place? No, I was over there. What the heck's going on? They change things up on me and it drives me crazy. Yep, and there she is. I remember this used to be quite a challenging fight if you're at level. And you can see it actually took me 3 or 4 hits to actually get her down, so she was actually pretty tough. And then this is where I make a big mistake. I was supposed to turn myself around and go turn in the quest with the big giant pig spirit behind me. And I didn't realize that at the time. I was intent on coming down here because I remembered there being an escort quest down here that I wanted to do. Unfortunately, it looks like they got rid of the escort quest, so I'm just down here wasting my time, basically. And the characters are still here, in terms of the goblin and the blood elf are still in here, and if I remember right, it was either you escorted him out, or you talked to him for some reason or whatever, but you don't actually interact with them at all. I mean, you can kill him even though he was already dead, which is kind of silly, but whatever. Didn't have a quest to do that. Guessing that maybe there's an alliance quest still with him, not sure, but nothing left with him. So, and at this stage in the game, I'm starting to realize that I need to go back up to turn in the quest. I'm like, oh, oops. And so that means I actually have to run all the way to the beginning of the instance and go all the way back up over the bridges. And here, see, I'm realizing, is there any way up? And I'm looking and I'm like, no, there's no way back up. No ladders on this little structure, that kind of thing. So that's exactly ultimately what I end up doing, is running all the way back. And I actually, you'll see the cut in a second here. I actually end up cutting out the run all the way back because it's sort of pointless. You'll just see me running past all the dead bodies I killed earlier. Yep, see, there's the bridge right there that I need to get to, and in order to get to that bridge, I have to, like I say, go all the way back around the beginning and wind my way back up that way again. So it's like, oh, great. Waste of my time. And if I kept all that footage in this game, this video would be 30 minutes long, so I chopped a whole bunch of that out. But I thought I'd keep at least part of this in here. So you can kind of see you've got all these zombie pigs around that are waiting to attack you. And these slimy, gelatinous blobs with skulls. Alright. Enough of that, I think. Oh, getting close. Sorry. Alright, there we go. So, I cut out the rest of that run back. And here we go, turning this part in. And I don't know why don't remember why I ran back. It's like, why am I running back? And then I realized that maybe it's the spirit that I gotta turn it into. I don't know. I got myself all sorts of confused. There we go. Now we pick up all these lovely goodies. So you have to choose one. It's like, okay, which one is worth the most silver? Take that one. Alright, let's go. And now we get to run all the way back out again. Whee! So, anyway, that generally is the Razorfen Kraul instance. The next one that I'll do next week, it's also, like I said, it's a Razorfen one. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. It's a little different. I mean, you're still running around kind of subterranean, kind of under a bunch of twisty vines and thorns and things, but in that particular one, you're actually fighting a lot of undead zombies and skeletons and that kind of thing. I think that they were invading that particular part of Razorfen, and the end boss ends up being like a Lich, and it's perfect instance for my Lich Reaper. So yeah, so as you can see here, I'm running all the way back out, and then thankfully I remembered the, well, it's not really a short, I keep thinking it's a shortcut, but it's not a shortcut, but it's the only way out, because you end up with a dead end at the back here, and you have to know that you have to jump on this vine to crawl, to run up and out to get out of the instance. I mean, obviously you can hearth out, I mean, it's not like you're stuck in here forever, but, I always remembered, like, the first few times I went through here, and I didn't know how to get out. I would get separated from my group, and I would get lost, and I'm like, how do I get out? And they're like, jump on the vine. I was like, which one? Alright, so we're going to turn these quests in here. So nice that the quest givers are in the game, though, now, or in the dungeon, and no longer out in the world. They have to run around, wasting your time doing that. Alright, so that is the conclusion of Razorfen Kraul. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and look forward to my next episode next week. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.